I have the perfect retirement opponent for John Cena in this video. I'm going to tell you exactly who that is, why I think they would be perfect for Cena, and why I think you're going to agree with me, because we are on the train to John Cena's retirement from WWE. It kicked off earlier this month on an episode of Monday Night Raw. Matter of fact, the Raw on Netflix premiere. We know that John Cena is going to be working the Men's Royal Rumble match, where not only has he declared himself for it, but he's also guaranteed that he's going to win it. We also know he's going to be working Elimination Chamber. Keep that in mind when it comes to his world title aspirations. We know he's going to be working Mania. We know that he's going to work up to 36 dates, and we know he's going to be sticking around in WWE until December. But there's also the big question. There's actually multiple big questions. Number one, who does he face at WrestleMania? Number two, does he win the World Championship for a 17th time? And number three, who does he face in his retirement match? Before I answer who I think would be the perfect retirement opponent for Cena, let's address the two front-running questions. Number one, who's he going to face at the Royal Rumble or at WrestleMania? I think it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. It sets the stage. It sets itself. You might as well just go with whatever works. Have him win the Royal Rumble. Have him earn the opportunity to challenge Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. I know his dad is pitching Gunther, but I think they have other plans, and I think Uncle Bill Goldberg's going to be in those plans, but I digress. So you have John Cena go up against Cody Rhodes. I don't see why you would want to have him beat Cody Rhodes. I don't think he's the right guy. I think he falls short in his attempt. Number two, does he win the world title sometime in 2025? That I think he will, and I think they're going to be saving that for later this year. Give him something to chase a little bit. So that brings us back to number three. Does John Cena face a young, up-and-coming guy that has a ton of potential and who's going to be around for the next 10 years? Or do you go with an established act, a veteran, perhaps a former rival, maybe a John Cena versus Randy Orton, or a John Cena versus CM Punk, or a John Cena versus The Miz? Okay, I kid about The Miz, but you get what I'm saying. Who would be the perfect opponent? Now, this is a question in which I've posed to myself. This is a question in which I've thought about quite a bit, actually. In my opinion, it's pretty straightforward. It's actually very straightforward. It's right there in front of you. It's Bron Breakker, our current Intercontinental Champion, someone who recently defended the championship against Sheamus at Saturday night's main event. A guy that has made the rise, the guy that has really broke through in WWE, a guy that has been pushed to the moon ever since he joined this company a few short years ago. From his main roster debut last year, very impactful. But even back to his NXT days, he's been a guy that you always have to keep your eye on. You always have to keep your finger on, because you know he has big time talent, and you know that WWE views him as a big time talent. Bron Breakker was a guy that immediately when he joined NXT, you knew he was going to be a big star, and they fast-tracked him to the main event scene, having him win the NXT Championship. Now, he had a short reign for dropping it, then winning it back from Dolph Ziggler, a.k.a. Nick Nemeth, and going then on a long heel run. I actually think he's actually a really good babyface, but it's been so long since we've seen him as a babyface, and he's such a great heel that you just keep him in the heel role. But he's a guy that's going to be around for a very long time. And then when he was called up to the main roster, I mean, they booked him sensationally, and obviously winning the Intercontinental Championship from Sami Zayn, and then beating Sami Zayn twice. So, and since then, you know, he's feuded with Jay and everything like that. And so I think if you go and you look at the body of work that Bron Breakker has done, I think if you go and you look at the body of work that Bron Breakker is capable of doing, the potential in which he has to do, I think he's the perfect opponent for John Cena. And I'll tell you why. Not only due to his credentials, not only due to everything in which he has achieved thus far, but I also think if you're looking at it from a John Cena standpoint, if you're looking at it from a WWE standpoint, it makes the most sense because, one, it gets a young guy over that is going to be someone in this business. It also gives Braun a rub immediately. And it almost is the passing of the guard, right? Of like, okay, John Cena, he's been the guy. We know he's been the guy. And I understand he tossed the baton to Roman, and Roman is the guy. But I also think at the same time, eventually Bron Breakker's going to beat Roman Reigns. That'll be the significant, passing of the torch moment. But this is like a prequel. This is a setting of the stage because John Cena, regardless of his multi-year singles PLE losing streak, despite all the setbacks in which he's had to overcome and endure in terms of a character standpoint, a storyline standpoint, John Cena is still John freaking Cena, right? Like, you can't take that away from him. So if you look at it like that, I think if John Cena puts over Bron Breakker, it feels right. And to do it and have Braun be his retirement opponent, I think that sets the scene. You also have a younger guy that can help carry John Cena to a pretty good match. I think if you see it like this, it's like, how does John Cena maximize the potential to make the biggest star even bigger? Because I think Bron Breakker has a huge, huge future. I think he has someone in which that can be a main event guy, a top tier guy, a world champion type guy in WWE. I really do think that. He can cut promos, he's got the character down. Obviously, he can work like a lot of good stuff. So if you look at it like that, what John Cena can do for Bron Breakker is as important as what Bron Breakker can do to John Cena. Because if you want the right guy, if you want a good match, you don't want a stinker to go out if you're John Cena. I think Bron Breakker's the right guy. And you can still have John work with younger tier talent, and you can still have John work with veteran type talents. You can still do all the dream matches with the young guys that he's never mixed it up with. You can look at it like this in the sense of, what if you had John Cena versus The Miz, or John Cena versus Randy Orton, or John Cena versus Roman Reigns, or John Cena versus CM Punk, or John Cena versus Sheamus, or John Cena versus X, Y, and Z, all these veteran guys, all of these guys in which he's already worked with. Well, then it sets the scene for itself, right? You still get those moments, but at the same time, you get to have him finish it out the way that I think he wants to. I think, and he's talked about this in the past, but it's like he wants to give back to the business. He wants to give back to WWE. And I think if you're going to do that, I don't think there's anyone better than a Bron Breakker that you can help evolutionize the business. You can help get someone else over. You can help move the business forward. I think that's what you get with Bron Breakker. I think that's what you get with Bron Breakker versus John Cena. I could be wrong. Like I said, could be wrong, but I think it would be the perfect opportunity for Cena. I think it would be the perfect opportunity for Braun. I just think, if you're looking at it from an overall standpoint, there's so many positives to a Bron Breakker versus John Cena feud in the match. It just makes sense to do.